I am doing the Sisterhood of the World book tag, and I was tagged by Lisa from Books and Smiles kind of a while ago, so I'm sorry it's taking me so long to get to it, but thank you so much for tagging me. And basically how it works is every person who answers questions makes up their own questions for the people they tag. So I'm answering the questions that Lisa put in the description of her video, but then when I tag people at the end, they're going to be answering questions that I ask in the description of my video, which is kind of cool. So, her question number 1 is, you walk into a bookstore and are greeted with 3 free books of your choice, and they can be pre-orders. What do you choose? 1. Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia, because I borrowed that from someone and it was my favorite book of the year so far, and I definitely want one for myself. Also, P.S. I Like You by Casey West. I've been waiting for that to come out in paperback since it came out like over a year ago because all of my books by her are in paperback, so they all have to match. So it's finally out in paperback, so that one. And maybe Landline by Rainbow Rowell, because I kind of want that, and apparently it takes place over Christmas time, so I want it so I can read it at Christmas. Question 2. What book do you think should be taught in school? Wonder by R.J. Palacio for sure, and maybe The Book Thief. If you could interview any author living, who would it be and why? Either J.K. Rowling, to ask her pretty much about all of her, like, the fact that she knew everything about the series before she started it. Like, she knew how everything was going to play out in the last book when she was writing the first book. So I want to ask her, like, how she did that, how she worked it into her books, how she came up with everything, basically. If she sat down and plotted out the entire series before writing, or I don't even know, but probably J.K. Rowling for that reason. Or John Green, because he's fabulous. What fictional character can you relate to most? Well, Eliza and Her Monsters, besides the famous part, I think. There was one situation in that book that I related to so much that it made me cry. There are definitely pieces that I relate to when it comes to Eliza, from Eliza and Her Monsters. Recommend an underrated book. I'm gonna go with a series, and that is the Shades of London series. I've heard like 2 people talk about this series, and it's so effing good. Oh my goodness, it's so good. I read the first one and I loved it, and then I read the second one and I didn't love it, but I really liked it still, and then I read the third one and I loved it, and it was so good, and I loved it just as much as the first one, and they're so good, and the main character in it is so funny, and the other characters are so wonderful, and it's so like interesting and intriguing and creepy and weird and fun and exciting, and the series is so good, guys. So yes, it's the Shades of London series by Maureen Johnson, and the first book is The Name of the Star, and the second book is The Madness Underneath, and the third book is The Shadow Cabinet, and the fourth book doesn't have a release date or a title or a cover yet, and I'm really upset about it. It's about this American girl who moves to England to a boarding school. In the first book, there is this like Jack the Ripper copycat going on, and there's a whole bunch of people being murdered, obviously, near where she's going to school, and there's all this really weird stuff happening, and the main character kind of gets pulled into this world of ghosts. It's so good, you guys. It's so good. And the first book is like all about like the Jack the Ripper copycat, but the second and third book kind of continue the story away from the Jack the Ripper copycat, but some stuff that kind of gets brought up in the first one continues into the other books, and the third book is just insanity. What series would you want to be made into a TV show or movie? I have 2 for this. So 1, The Night Circus. I would like it to be a miniseries. Or, no, it doesn't have to be a miniseries. It could be a TV show. I feel like 4 seasons of like 12 episodes or something, or maybe 4 seasons of 6 or 8 episodes would be perfection, because a lot does happen in that book, and it spans over a very big period of time. So I feel like a multiple season TV series would work really well for that. But a miniseries would work well too. And then my other TV show that I would like is The Coldest Girl in Coal Town But here's my thing, is that it doesn't even, like, if it is about the characters from the book, that would be cool. But it doesn't have to be. It can just be about Cold Town, and the show would be called Cold Town. And it would just be just the premise of the coldest girl in Cold Town, about how there's the cold towns and how the vampires go in if you're a vampire, or if you've been bitten and you might become a vampire and you can't leave even if you've waited out the infection and you're not a vampire. You can only leave if somebody gets a token to get you out, and there's like basically no rules in there. There's no laws being enforced, and there's people who wish they could be vampires, and that's why they're in there, and it's all dark and gritty, and there's like the famous vampires who are rich and they basically run the whole show, and it would be so good. It would be such a good TV show. I feel like it would be like kind of like the Vampire Diaries but older, so it would appeal to probably a wider audience, because it would definitely be a darker show for sure, and it wouldn't focus so much on the love aspect like it does in Vampire Diaries, although there could be a love story in it. That would be fine, but it would be such a good show. Someone needs to make it a show, and just the premise is so interesting and cool. And the reason it would be a really good TV show if they didn't follow the book and they just used the premise, because then there would be no, oh, they did that wrong or they did this wrong. It's just the idea and being transformed into a show, but they can leave the characters and the story from that book out, make their own story, but have the whole idea of the Cold Town be the same and how it works be the same. Share one of your favorite quotes from a book you love. I think my favorite one is, "It does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live." Dumbledore says that in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. What is the oldest book on your TBR? Oh, man. It's probably this one right here, Caught by Harlan Coben. My dad got this for me for my 21st birthday, and I haven't read it for some reason because I loved Harlan Coben, and then I just never read it because I didn't like The Woods and it put me off of him as an author. But I should just probably read it. Like, it's probably still really good, but yeah, no, I've had this for, what, 7 years, so. Best standalone book you read this year. Sorry to sound like a broken record here, but Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. Another standalone that I did love a lot was Symptoms of Being Human by Jeff Garvin. It's not my favorite, obviously Eliza is, but that one is worth mentioning too, I think. Recommend 3 booktubers with less than 500 subscribers. The first person is Tammy Wen. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. And she is just very, like, I like the way she talks about books. She gets pretty excited when she talks about them, and she has a lot of, like, thoughtful videos. Like, she doesn't just do a video about a book that she read. Like, she might do a video on a whole bunch of books by the same author and kind of compare them, or just talk about the things that she liked about them or the things that she didn't like, and she's great, so her. The Chameleon, she is also fabulous. She has a lot of great videos, and another thing that she does that I really like is she does book-inspired makeup tutorials, which is amazing. I could never do them, even though she tells us how. I could never, but I really like watching them. The looks are really cool, and she does a really good job. And Books and Smiles, even though we've already mentioned her since she tagged me in this, but she has really great videos too. She's just very enthusiastic, so I really enjoy listening to her talk about the books that she's read because she's always really excited about them, and she also just seems like a really nice person, and her videos are fun to watch. So yeah, so I don't know who I'm going to tag. I'm going to probably just put their names on the screen at the end here, and then I'll put them in the description along with my questions that you have to answer in your videos. Bye. Have a good day.